Good morning, friends. Pastor Kelly here with you with a Wednesday edition of Grace Thoughts. Picking up where we left off on Monday, we were talking about loss on Monday. What happens after loss is this thing we all know as grief. Grief follows loss. Grief reflects something that was very dear to us and very important to us in some measure, and now it's gone. Oftentimes and most of the times we refer that to another human being that was in our life, important in our life, and now that human being is no longer with us. And so grief ensues and grief happens. But it doesn't have to be just a human loss, even though I think that's the most difficult. It could be a loss of a job, a loss of a dream, a loss of a career, and there's a grieving process that takes place, which we'll talk about a little bit at the end here. But it will be difficult. The level of grief will be, I believe, directly related to the level of the loss and how the loss took place. If you were particularly close to a person and you had daily contact with that person, and that person is taken out of your life, there's a hole there that is huge. If you had irregular contact with that person, and the relationship wasn't that close, you'd still have a sense of grief, but it might not be the same as somebody else. Here's the key: it says all grief is different. That's my point for saying that. I hate comparing people's losses with another and people's grief with another. I saw a lot of that when we lost our daughter. People were saying all sorts of stuff like comparing, well, at least you have this, and when I went through this, and I lost my parents, and I lost my whatever, and none of those things are minimized, and none of those things are less. They're just different. And this is my grief, and you're going to have, and you probably had those listening, your grief. If you've had miscarriages, you've grieved over these miscarriages. It's okay. And people think somehow, well, it's part of life, you should just get over it. And no. First of all, your grief is none of their business. Okay? So first of all, if you are the grief police and you're out looking to make sure people don't grieve too long because it makes you uncomfortable, then take your nose out of their business and let God be God in their lives, and let them grieve as long and how they want to grieve, no matter what that grief looks like. It may not be the type of grief you have endured and gone through. That's because, believe it or not, people are different and relationships are different, and everyone processes things a different way. Sometimes if the relationship that is lost, the grief that is caused is I'm losing my time here, I don't want to lose you, is confusing or marred. Maybe you're taking care of a loved one and caring for them intently in a sick bed up until you finally lose them. What you're going to go through is something different than like when I went through when I lost my daughter abruptly and suddenly like that. See, it's all different. So what do we do in light of this in the last 20 seconds? We just love each other. We support each other. We love each other. We identify with each other. We don't compare ourselves. We just know that this thing called grief is a result of loss, and loss is a result of sin. Nothing God intended us to bear during life, but God, through the Holy Spirit, has equipped us to go through it and come out the other side as well. God bless you all. We'll see you on Friday. Bye.